Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Utkarsh Singh, and I am an intern at Fractal Eugenie. And basically mainly a member of OSS UNA, Open Source Society, UNA. And this is Open Ended Tech, a series of podcasts that we'll be hosting, where we just have a conversation with people around us, people active in the open source community, active in the programming world itself. So today we have with us the founder of Open Source Society UNA and the winner of so many Smart India hackathons and many more hackathons. So please welcome Prashant Sengar.
Well,
Hello,
thank you,
Prashant.
Utkarsh. This was this was truly, I mean, a very great introduction for me. Okay, so my name
Yeah,
is Prashant Sengar, and I am a backend developer by I don't know by what, but I love to do backend programming. And we started, I Utkarsh and Aryan Verma from IIIT UNA started the Open Source Society UNA last year to promote the open source culture in the institute as well as around the area. So this series is another such is this series of videos and or podcasts is another such event that we are trying to start that will probably inculcate open source culture in the institute as well as to other students. So I think today's topic is web development, which Utkarsh loves to talk about, and even I do. So let's say,
yeah.
uh, what are we going to talk about today?
I think 60% of our time in college has just been spent doing that, just talking about web development.
Yeah,
We've talked about many projects, and we are so procrastinating in nature that hardly we have ever materialized one project. I think if you remember, we had talked about one project which we were going to build. It was in web and it was in we were thinking of building an application, right? It was related to clothes.
right, right,
So the idea was that any person can, when they walk into a shop, they need to look at they need to think if this piece of clothing that they are thinking of buying, will it go with the rest of the outfits what they have in whatever they have in their own wardrobe for now. So how do you check all of those things, and not have something like, oh, I had this piece of clothing, I had this t-shirt, it's such a good t-shirt, how did I not know? So the idea was to have an application that has all the data of the t-shirts and the jeans, whatever you have, on the phone, and through augmented reality you can click on a new piece of clothing that you find in the mall that you want to buy or that you think is worthy, and you can match it with the current wardrobe
right,
outfits that you have.
right.
So
It's
yeah, that's
just like
still in the to-do list.
it's just like the lens card advertisement that you have for augmented
Yes.
reality. They'll let you check different frames on your face, and we were going to let you check your new clothes on your body. So that was the idea, but I think it couldn't materialize. We just stopped it in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah. I think the hackathon itself was the hackathon which we were building this project. I think we didn't finish any project in that one.
Right? No, we didn't. And there was another one which we were able to do was the I own my data one. So
Yeah,
we
that was
built
a good one.
yeah, we built an application that which you could connect to your different social media websites. So it worked as a social media aggregator. You could connect your different social media profiles to it, and it would fetch all your data from those sites, and it would present to you. It would present that data on that singular website. So you would be able to see all your data on that single website, and maybe you could choose to show which data you want to show to the people and other basic things. So it could have worked a lot. It could be a great uh, a great product if you care about data privacy and data ownership. So you actually own all of your data. You could download that all of that, and instead of letting it be on someone else's servers.
Yeah, I mean it had tremendous scope, that project. Yeah, if we can, it serves as a great backup generator. It serves as a lot of things that
Yeah,
different kinds of users can use that.
correct.
So, Prashant, why don't you tell us about what are you doing currently? What are you doing recently? The recent project and any work experience that you have had in the recent months.
The recent months have gone by working on there were different projects, not a lot of related to web development. They were mostly I was working on a project that were used by different people. So it utilized. I mean, it had me learning different how to use. I mean, how to run an application on distributed cloud, on cloud actually.
Oh,
So I mean, I'm learning that, but related to web development, I made an open source email tracking application that I should share with you, I think. And here it is.
okay.
So it is a very simple application that lets you, I mean, lets you see if the receiver has read your email. So the whole process
Okay.
is pretty simple. You just enter the receiver's email address
Mhm.
and you enter the sender's address. It's Gmail, and you just sign up for it, and it will give you this code. And this is a very simple image code. So what it actually is it is a code that you just add to your Gmail or any email serving application. And if the when the
Mhm.
other person reads his email, opens the email, you'll receive an
Mhm.
email that the other person has read your email.
So let's say if I'm typing some email to a professor, and I don't exactly type HTML specifically in my code, right? I just write text. So is there any? So how can I embed HTML inside it? Does Gmail have any option like that?
Yes, it's actually a bit of a hack because you actually edit using the browser's inspect element options. So you go to a text box and edit the HTML there, and in the text box you inject this HTML code there, and then it starts working. You cannot if you just add this HTML code as it is just like text, then it is not going to work obviously. But if you add it to the HTML code, inject it to the HTML, then it will work. And
Okay, so won't Gmail look at it as won't the Gmail recognize it as spam?
no, it's
I
not
mean, won't the
actually
email
spam
server?
because all of us, I mean, different all of the services send us emails with different HTML codes, and I think basically,
Yeah,
I mean, email actually supports HTML, so this is just another
I
HTML
have
code.
seen a lot of businesses use those signatures, those footers. Those
Yes.
if I'm sending, for example, when we used to send emails using for DropAI, a
Mm,
startup that I had founded. So for that, we had images in the footer as a
right.
signature
Right.
for every email, but we didn't actually use HTML in the text box when we were writing emails. It is only the user those machine generated auto generated emails that we built just to promote messages, they have
Right.
HTML. But yeah, I was just curious, how can I embed it? Actually, I mean, the email services can have a feature like that also, just embed HTML, but I think that will also add a little risk.
Yes, it's also actually, I mean, a work in progress. We could build a browser extension to inject the HTML
Mhm.
code directly. So instead of you having to go to the website, getting the this code and adding it to the email, you just open your email
Mhm.
and use the extension to add it. So everything works automatically. But I didn't have enough time to work on it. But it's open source. I should probably share the link to the GitHub repo as well, and anyone can contribute, anyone can add extensions to it. And
Mm.
recently I also saw a few people actually using it. So it it
Oh.
is, I mean, I felt proud that a hobby project could was being used by other people. So let's get into the internals of how this actually works. So what we are seeing here is this HTML code that we are using. So
Mm.
all of this is built on this simple code. So if we see it, if we know about HTML, even basic HTML, we see that this is an image tag, and the source of the image is this URL. So what
Mm.
happens if I just a second? I'll share my whole browser itself. Okay. So what happens if I open this URL?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is you see this
Some
small
blanks.
dot. I'll zoom it.
Okay.
The small
Okay,
dot.
this is
It
just a
is,
white dot, so it won't be
yes,
visible in the email anyway.
right. Exactly. So it is a one pixel by one pixel sized image, white image, that you add to the
Okay.
email. So
Okay.
okay, so this image is now being added to the email, and it is not visible to the user, to the receiver. So what it does is
Mm.
when anyone uh, receives this email, this URL is being called. So
Yeah.
when this URL is being called, a request is being made. So and the server is listening for these requests. So whenever such a request is being made from a different IP from the person who actually made this, who actually signed up here. So
Mm.
if let's say that I signed up here and I sent an email with this code to you, to Utkarsh,
Yeah.
and when the server receives a GET request, it checks whether the request is from the same IP, from my IP. If it is from my IP,
Yeah.
then it will not retrieve it. But if in case it is
Mm.
from anyone else's IP, like Utkarsh IP, since I've only sent this email to Utkarsh, then I'll receive an email that Utkarsh has opened and read my mail. Actually, at least opened the email. I don't know if he has read or not, but I am sure now
Mm.
that he has opened the email, probably read it too. So a very simple,
Yeah.
basic model that how it works.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually great.
And I had this, I
I
think, idea in the middle of when I was going to when I was selected for in out a day or two before. I don't know how I had this idea, but I wanted to know if the other person has read my email. So I thought I
I
should
think your
make this.
reason must have been similar to mine. We were hunting for internships, and we used to email a lot during that time. That has happened to me. That's why I will use your your active program if I need that.
Yeah,
That is a very real issue that people have. You know, at least people,
right.
there are a lot of people who don't reply to emails at all when there are applicants. So it is a good use case. And I had researched about such an application, but for using such an application, the other person also has to have that application which I'm using to track it. So that's
Of
something
course,
that they
yes.
had made. Yeah,
I think,
so
and
obviously
other
that wasn't a good
applications
use case.
that I read about were they sent a very big image that this, I mean, a very big image in the email. So the other person also knows that he's using this, and you,
Okay.
and I think they also have a
Yeah,
very
and all the
big
emails might not be relevant to that
pricing.
big image anyway. So the other
Right,
person might even wonder, even if they don't know.
right. So have
But
you
yeah,
worked
that's awesome.
on any project recently, Utkarsh? Would like to see your project as well.
But currently, most of my days are gone in, when I work for Fractal usually when I'm interning. So yeah, but before that, if I may share my screen, I had one project that I was building on before getting the internship, and that was I was building a data visualizer tool basically to visualize Google's data.
Seems
So I
interesting.
named that Googleizer. Obviously, I couldn't finish that project, But and I started with visualizing the YouTube data. So there are a lot of projects which visualize the YouTube data specifically of any user, and it's still a work in progress. So if you see, I mean, yeah, I can also show you where how exactly it is. It's a very simple project for now. It just showcases what are my top 10 most watched channels, and
Right.
yeah, so these are by number and by duration. So yeah, okay, this is where my time was most invested in, based on minutes watched and how much YouTube do I watch every day. This
A
is in
lot of
minutes,
fitness videos.
by the
Yeah.
way. Sorry, a big lot of.
Fitness videos.
Yeah, even Akshay Saini. This was the time when I was preparing for interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, entrepreneurs in cars. So there's a lot of things. Austin Dunham vlogs. Anyway, so the minutes are also no. Uh, I mean, they are also pretty much 8 hours of videos were watched here. So,
Mm.
but there's a catch that I'll come to when these videos are talked about. And here's a chart of the 10 most watched categories of videos. So the limit is dependent. I mean, the extents of what we can visualize is dependent on the data that Google provides us, and that is available to us through Google Takeout. uh,
Right.
that's another tool that from Google which can make available your own personal data to you from various
Right.
other products, right? So yeah, if you see this, there's your Google Calendar data, there's your Chrome data, but that's also limited. You see browser history, bookmarks, and uh, we have your classroom data, they have your classroom data, contacts. Anyway, so YouTube data is something that most people like to play around with, just like me. And yeah, even in the history format is a little different. So it's just a video ID that they show,
Mm.
and yeah, just that. So if they have a video ID and the time when which at which you watch those videos, so you need to pick up each and every ID of that data. Through the YouTube data API, you need to get all the information about the
Right.
channels, the name, the duration. And the duration, if it's a 1 hour video, I might not have watched the entire 1 hour video. So I
Mm.
might, and they don't exactly tell you how much of the video did you watch. In the end, in the Google Takeout data, you don't get that amount of data.
Mm.
That's some data that the subscribers might have, and that also won't be. Sorry, not the subscribers, the people who run the channels. I
Right.
think if you've seen the YouTube Studio and analytics that they have, they tell us where exactly the users, the viewers left your
Mm.
video from. So yeah,
Right.
so it's a lot scattered. So of course, all the Google takeout data is also abstracted. That doesn't mean that Google is a saint. Yeah, they won't give you all of the data.
Right. So how does this work? It seems very. I mean, it looks very good. Which technology did you use there?
Yeah, yeah, so once I passed the data, I experimented with various libraries of data visualization. So first I tried D3 because that's the biggest name out there, and then I realized, okay, D3 is the biggest name because it really is the biggest library, and it's very hard to understand. It I mean, they have a lot of modules, they have different modules and they have different functions, so many functions, thousands of functions. And
Hmm.
to parse that, it's not something that you can just pass the data, that's it. Now you need to restructure that data according to those also. So I thought, okay, I just want to visualize, let's look at some more abstracted library. So I went to React Viz library, which is a library by Uber. So that also was great. And if you look at let me just share it again. uh, if you look at the second chart that I had built, uh, this the second, I think, yeah, this one is a chart from React Viz that I built from React Viz. And this is, I don't remember which library this was. No, sorry, this was React Viz. And this was just the second one, and the third one is from another library that I was using. And the name of that library, that is the best library if you want to just visualize some data on the go very quickly. So it has React in its name. Let me just look at package.json. I'll find the name there. Uh, React Chart JS2. Yeah, React Chart JS2. That is the biggest abstraction because you just need to pass the data in a very proper form. Okay, just x and y coordinates, and that's it. There's just one map function that you need to use. So I found that library very useful, very helpful if I'm just building just a side project for just fun.
Right. And
Yeah.
you already know about three different visualization libraries from a single project. So that's that's
Yeah,
also
I think
very also very important aspect of when you are actually building projects. You learn more than what you could by just watching a video or just reading a book. So it's
yeah,
important
that's
to
right.
actually keep practicing that.
Yeah, now I know what exactly is the level of each library and when should I use them. So yeah, it's obviously like you said, it's a great way to learn. So
By the way,
that was the purpose.
do you also document the use of your libraries? Like, I mean, you already know which library you are using, and I mean, which library works for you. So, do you keep a document of that, or you just leave it to your brain?
Like like a different book kind of a thing or a journal where I'm just listing this is the purpose of that.
Yeah, a journal, personal journal.
No, I haven't tried that. I mean,
Yes,
I never got the
maybe.
idea of that also.
Yes, maybe we could do uh, a course, I mean, a series of articles on this as well. I mean, just all the people in the OSS group on the projects we are working
Mm.
on, we could document all the process that we went through to create a single project, all the libraries that we tried, comparing those libraries and what worked and what did not work. That is also a very, I mean, a public journals like that would also help a lot of people.
Yeah, actually, that is a nice idea. Long ago, I had thought of I have an idea similar to this that every week or every month I will pick up one library, one npm library, because obviously there is one at least one npm library released every week, every day, right? There are so many,
Right.
so you just pick up one, you review that, and you publish an article on that. So it gives you knowledge regarding that library, and you have some content to deliver also. But I think this is a better approach, what you're talking about, because it will allow us to focus on one domain, one specific subdomain, for example, data visualization. And now you try different libraries regarding that, regarding data visualization. So now you have a comparison of everything, and you can deliver a more insightful uh, approach
Exactly.
or data content related to something.
Yes, and because when you're working on the project, you exactly know what your requirements are, and you compare the libraries on those requirements. But where you're
Yeah,
generically just comparing some libraries, you do not know what to talk about.
yeah, that's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think
So
I think
how's
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Go on.
Yeah, so I was just talking about any other backend related project that you've been doing, or anything new that you found in backend development, any new technology.
Something new for me was new for me is front end actually. I started learning React,
Mhm.
and I think you have a lot of uh, experience with React. Do you? I mean, when I started trying React, it seemed, I mean, uh, a very easy process to build a whole application. So,
Yeah.
how do you view React as, I mean, as a tool?
I mean, I think it's a very interesting library. But to be honest, as since I am already interning and I'm also working on React also only, but the more I talk to people, who are more experienced than me, and they're talking about the granularity of it, everything
Right.
related to the internal structures and how it's building, the
Hmm.
essentials of the core structure of what's going on inside. I feel like, yeah, I am not really experienced in React. I just have built some projects, yeah, maybe for a year or two now. But yeah, as much as I've worked, And see, my journey was going from the basic hard work labor to React. So I find it very, very interesting and very easier abstracted, because
Exactly.
before React, what did we have? What did we have before React? We used to have templating. We used to build specific HTML pages,
Right.
different HTML pages, and then we used to specifically, okay, for this request, just render this. For this request, just render this. And so there might be a lot of repetitions in each and every pages. So we used to
Right.
still take the code aside, and then we used to say, yeah, okay, this is now, this is called a partial. This is a partial. One partial is header, one partial is nav footer. So render this header on every page, render this footer on every page.
Hmm.
But still, that does not eliminate the hard work, and that does not still optimize a lot of processes. But React does optimize that, and React has also added more features like lazy loading and other stuff, so which makes
Yep.
the bundle size even more, bundling also more optimized. So now it is even more, the data fetching is even more optimized in that sense.
Right.
So I find React for those things good. But if you ask me, yeah, okay, what exactly internally what goes in lazy learning, that I'm still to learn. I just know what it does, how it does. I don't know.
That's enough
When you talk
for the
about the
projects
bundling
that
things.
we are working on.
Sorry.
I mean, that is enough. Knowing what you're talking
Okay.
about, what you know about, that is enough for the projects that we usually work on. So,
Yeah.
what else do you use for front end or even the complete web development, other libraries, other frameworks,
What
other than React?
I mean, if we just talk about, okay, other than React, because even in React, currently I'm in the process of understanding React hooks in more detail, rather than, there are a lot of functions, use state, use effect. There are a lot of hooks. So yeah, apart from that, I think which is the latest library that I learned. Yeah, it was D3 and React Viz and
Mhm.
stuff. But I dare not say that I have learned D3. Okay, it's a very big library, and I just know a drop of that ocean. Anyway, so in the last year, I spent most of my time working on this product called Droppi or
Right.
Dropi. We still haven't fixed a pronunciation for that.
Okay. Is
So,
it
but
GIF
yeah,
or GIF?
that's I have no idea. So yeah, so let me just give you a brief about what Droppi is. You can see my screen, right?
Right.
Okay, so Droppi is basically a platform that we built to build backend systems without programming, or build APIs without programming. And yeah, as you can see, create API docs. That's one of the most interesting features that I find in this program, is that if you oh, I'm not logged in here, and uh, my email is also not logged in here. I've forgotten my password. Let me just try it still. uh, um, yes, thank God. Okay. So yeah, this is basically a platform where we are building APIs without programming. Okay, so let's say now I need to create a library system, an API that I will be. Okay, let's discuss what we will be building, and then let's try building it through the platform. Okay, so let's build a library API that will have a lot of books. Okay, and it will return a list of books for one request. It can return, let's say, yeah, a list of books for one request, and for a post request we can say that, okay, this one is issued. And so when somebody says issued, then it will mark it as issued, something like that.
Issued. Right.
Okay, so yeah, my screen is not visible yet. Let's go back there and try again. Okay, okay, now, so I created a project named library. Let's create a just a simple collection. It's not a big deal. Collections is just will just house a collection of routes and endpoints. Okay, so you can call it anything. Now let's create a library of books. It will have, obviously, we are creating a database of, okay, this is a MySQL database that will be named books, and it will have an attribute. So the name of the book, which will be, which cannot be an integer. Then it will have an author, and yeah, for now let's just keep it this way. I won't bore you with a lot of project and with a lot of tour of drop AI. So, and don't worry about this SGFD. This is actually my username. So what we are doing is basically, if I say that all books, okay, and what it should return is it should return books, all the books in the schema, right? That's what we wanted in all books. Now it's a get request. It will, this is the URL and all books, and it's going to return all books, and there we go. In, I mean, with all those, this stocking and stuff like that, now this is actually live. So if I go over here and see, this is status 200, error is null, and the response is an empty array because in the database currently there are no books. If we add a book, if I go and add a book here, uh, let's say DB schema, and yeah, and if I add, let's say book Dharma, and the author is Amish Tripathi. There we go. Now let me refresh this. And then there we go. So we
Wow,
have a
that's
data.
it. We
Yeah,
have a
that's
fully
all we need.
running we have a fully running API in about 2 minutes or less.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it's hosted, it's actually live, so you, that's the thing that I liked the most about it. Besides, you also have a documentation prepared while you're working,
Oh,
so you get all books, and you're getting what, there's no body required, there's nothing. So this is something that we have been doing a lot, spending a lot of time with for the last past year.
this is really
So this
amazing. I
is,
mean, after working hard for, I mean, for multiple days to create an API, and when you start, I mean, when you think about now, let's create documentation, it already
yeah,
irritates you a lot. Now your whole
yeah.
API is already ready in a very small amount of time, and then your docs are also, I mean, completely ready with you.
Yes, only people who have struggled with the front end team can say that. Can I understand that?
Yes.
Backend developers struggling with front end. Okay, but yeah, I mean that is always a thing. That is why I think GraphQL was built in the first
Exactly.
place. Also, so yeah,
And
that's
yes, trying different tools, like, I mean, I basically work with Python to create backend APIs. So
mm,
I mean, when you try with Flask, you have a more, I mean, you just create something from scratch, and it still takes
yeah,
more time than creating something with Drop AI. I mean, it's pretty cool to do all of that.
yeah. And that's the point. I mean, we want to abstract programming, and obviously we know that even if we build a good platform, there will always be some complexity. That is what is defining us. That's exactly, that's a good question by Aryan Burma. That this is exactly what I'm talking about. There are many complex requests that can happen in the API, and that is why we exist. We programmers exist, but we don't exist to do the menial jobs, the menial tasks of just writing app.get app dot, or just basic SQL queries or anything like that. So the point of Drop AI is to abstract programming in backend development. This is what we want. So you can just focus on the logic. You can build the logic, and you can just say, okay, do this. I want you to return a specific book ID, specific all the books pertaining to this author. Return that, and you, why do you have to write an SQL command on that and embed that in a function with a string, and then embed that function call in a different function call, and then use pass that function call in an app.get another function call that you're using the router library, the
And then
express library.
the whole process of actually deploying the API.
Yeah, And a lot of people might argue, okay, I can do that very fast. Yeah, sure, you can do fast, but you can also create logics really fast. So why don't you focus on that and leave these tasks, leave even the deployment. I mean, in the last 2 minutes that we built the project, we actually deployed it, and we can also monitor the project about the kind of requests that are coming in, where the people are. So I think it's high time that such technology should be built right now to help programmers.
By the way, the definition of menial jobs has been changing a lot in the past few
Yeah,
years.
that's right. I think this will also be something that people getting yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people getting laid off, so this also raises the bar a little higher. But
Yeah.
I read this book from Cal Newport, and that's what he says, that the people who will focus on their work, they are the only ones who are going to be on top, because there will always be changes and people will be laid off. When
Yeah.
electricity was invented, the people holding the lamps were laid off, or they were given different jobs. So I guess that's what we need to focus on. We need to be
Is
innovative.
this deep focus you're talking about?
Deep work. Yeah.
Deep work, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so are there any other websites or platforms that offer this service? I mean, like Dropia?
Not exactly like Dropia, but there's this application that called Backendless, but that is specifically for mobile applications. And I'm not. It's not exactly like Dropia, but because it's not. Yeah, I don't know. It's too much. It's too extensive. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's not specific. It's just related to mobile applications. So yeah, but there are applications. There is also one application like called Bubble. I I think that's what I'm
Mm,
calling it, right? So that's a front end. So that's, you can build front end applications. You can design front end applications, and you can just drag and drop those things, and you have a code.
right.
You can also argue WordPress is like that. It's like a no code platform, but WordPress is, yeah, quite much more.
Still, mhm, it's still much more than just drop and drag and drop.
Yeah,
And I think there are a lot of different avenues, and I mean different avenues in what you can try with web development, and with a
yeah,
lot of new APIs coming with browsers themselves. I mean, you can now do a lot more than what you could do a few years ago.
yeah. That's right. That's actually right. And plus, giving into the diversity of browsers, the web development also becomes more tough, because Safari has its own styling elements, certain, and Mozilla has its own styling attributes that you need to take care of. So that is something that also needs to be taken care of while development. I also sometimes think that we can actually build an application where where it's the quality assurance testing, the QA testing for a website can be done on an automated level. I don't know if it does exist. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's something that we need definitely for many organizations.
We need a lot of lot of services which automate almost every part of our job.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
I think that should be it for the topic that we discussed today.
Yeah,
And right, so probably a few days later we would be coming with a new video on a different topic. You could join our Telegram group on the same OSS Una, and we discuss about different projects. We are trying to work on different projects together, and we're trying to inculcate uh, most more open source culture in around students, around people. And okay, and follow us on OSS Una on Twitter for all our updates. So thank you everyone. Have a great night.
yeah. It was nice talking to you, Prashant.